So good morning to everyone joining from the UK, and good afternoon to those joining from continental Europe, and good evening to those joining from Australia. I hope you enjoyed the keynote speech, very thought-provoking, from Andreas Ekstrom today. And thank you for joining our session, our breakout session, using WhatsApp Business. Many of you would have met Florian and myself in the past, either at an event in London or maybe last year, digitally online. So my name is Martin Clark. I head up Apteco in the German-speaking region, and I'm joined today by my colleague Florian von Bracht, who's our partner manager also with Apteco GmbH. So Florian's physically based in Aachen today, so the west side of Germany. I am in our office in Frankfurt. Just a bit of housekeeping before we get going. My colleague Bente from the German team is going to be monitoring any questions that come in during the session or towards the end of the session. So if you do have any questions, just enter them in the chat box, and we'll try to make sure we can answer them at the end. If we run out of time for whatever reason, we will get back to you after the session. The session is being recorded and will be uploaded to the portal after the event. And you're all on mute at the moment, so all delegates are unmuted. So please use the chat window to register or to pose any questions to us. So good, what's it all about today? So our key objectives are to explain what WhatsApp Business is and how it works for companies, how to use the Apteco software to automate chat with your customers, and more importantly, how to send out promotional messages, which is something that's newly available within the WhatsApp environment. As usual, we're going to show everything live. So my colleague Florian is going to give you a live demo. I'm going to introduce this scenario in advance, so to explain the customer journey that we're going to show you today using actually multiple channels. And then Florian's going to show it to you all live, and there'll be some audience participation as well if you want to follow it on your smartphones. I'll then summarize the key takeaways, and as I said, there will be some time at the end for a Q&A session. So just to set the scene, what is WhatsApp? Now, most of you will probably be very familiar with what it is, but we do have people joining from around the world where it's not necessarily the main messenger application in use in that marketplace. So WhatsApp Messenger has a vast number of users, one could say. So that's billion, not million, monthly users. And there are currently around 7.9 billion people on our planet. So that's 30% of the entire planet is using this one app, which is really quite incredible. It has global coverage, so 180 countries around the world, available in a host of languages. And on the right-hand side there, you can actually see where WhatsApp is the market leader. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's the only messaging app in a particular market, but you can see some big regional differences there. So for example, in the US and Australia, the Facebook Messenger app is more popular. It doesn't mean that WhatsApp isn't used at all, but it's quite likely. So for example, when I communicate with my brother who lives in Texas in the States, I have to use Facebook Messenger because he doesn't have WhatsApp. And you can see, for example, in China that you have WeChat is the #1 messaging app there. So some significant regional differences. It's a little bit small to see, but you can see in Europe that WhatsApp is definitely the dominant messaging app, although interestingly, Portugal prefers Facebook Messenger. So obviously with WhatsApp, you can send text messages, chat with each other, but you can also make video and voice calls typically, and share rich media as well, for photos, videos, and documents. And in Germany, where we're based, almost 90% of Germans use it on a daily basis. 77% of UK users use it on a daily basis. And recently, this was distributed in the German press just about a month ago. So you can see that WhatsApp's actually the most influential brand in the daily lives of Germans. So it's good that we now have an integration between Apteco and WhatsApp. So WhatsApp Business, in comparison, is made for commercial enterprises to communicate with customers. It is interactive, multilingual, and you can optionally have a chatbot sitting alongside it to power chats. So it could be an AI-powered chatbot or some sort of autoresponder chatbot, or of course you can hand over to a live agent. So about 175 million people use the WhatsApp business accounts on a daily basis. So that's less than 10% of all those that use the Messenger app. So today we're going to share with you a new integration that we have between WhatsApp and Apteco, and that's based on an API that we use from our strategic partner, Cineverse. So those of you that have joined these sessions over the last 2 years with Florian and myself may have heard about them before. Cineverse is a global company and a leading provider, a so-called CPaaS provider. So that's a communication platform as a service. And they, via their API, support a whole host of kind of mobile messaging channels, so for example, SMS, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger, for example, so other rich media channels. They're focused really at the high end of the market, so high quality of service, security is at the forefront of mind, and they're a company that are always adding new channels to their CPaaS platform. They are also the first WhatsApp Gold partner. So WhatsApp, even though it has a huge global reach, is actually quite a small organization. And if you need some technical support, for example, it's very hard to actually reach someone there. And our partner Cineverse has that direct relationship with WhatsApp, so we can work with them to get extra technical support if we need it, for example. And it's great to have them sitting alongside. Their core business, of course, is based around mobile communication. So for years, they've managed the roaming network between, I think it's something like 900 or more mobile operators worldwide. So when you land somewhere for your holiday, as soon as you step out of the airplane and you switch your mobile on, it's likely that Cineverse is working in the background to make those connections between the local mobile operator and your home mobile operator, for example. So let's talk a little bit about the headline message for today. So I'll reiterate this again later, but what we're announcing today is that WhatsApp can be used as a channel in People Stage for promotional messages, which is also new. I'll come back to that in a moment. You need to have an opt-in from your customers or users that you're communicating with, and you also need to use pre-approved templates. Now, I'm going to explain those elements in a bit more detail, but that's just remember that as the headline message for today. So just to summarize the differences between the consumer WhatsApp Messenger that you'll probably be most familiar with, WhatsApp Business, so the app, and the WhatsApp Business API, which is what we have integrated with in People Stage. So on the left-hand side, the WhatsApp Messenger is, as I said, targeted primarily at consumers and allows individuals to communicate and chat with each other. It's free of charge, and you are typically going to be using this on a one-to-one basis, or maybe to small groups of people, your friends and family, or your sports club, or whatever. Yeah. WhatsApp Business, the app, it's really targeted at smaller businesses. So you can imagine dentists, florists, for example, and allows them to respond to their customer inquiries on a one-to-one basis, or potentially to small groups of customers, but on a manual basis. And what the WhatsApp Business API allows us to do now is to automate things. There are two types of possible accounts that you need to be verified to set up these accounts as a standard business account. And if you're a larger global company, for example, like a Coca-Cola or Airbnb, then you will have a so-called official business account. And really what's new is from June this year, so quite recently, in fact, so-called quality-based messages are allowed. And I'll come back to the definition of what quality-based message is, but essentially promotional messages are allowed. It's really targeted at medium to larger enterprises, and it allows you to communicate with a larger group, so an unlimited group of customers and devices. There is a validation process to get your account set up. If you do have one of those official accounts, you'll get a special green check mark badge as well alongside your profile. There is a price for the message, and you also have to have your templates pre-approved by Meta, so the company behind Facebook. And again, I'll explain that in a moment. So yeah, just to reiterate, we're really focused on the WhatsApp Business API, and there you see an example, official business account. So you see next to the fresh produce, you've got that little green tick. So that's the check mark to show that you've been verified and you've been assigned an official business account. Otherwise, you'll just get a regular business account, which you'll see on the left-hand side. And of course, the WhatsApp Business API really allows larger organizations to automate their communications with their customers. So one of the features supported by the Business API, well, first of all, it has this sort of trusted aspect. So brands have to be verified, so that supports that trust. It's obviously secure, as is all of WhatsApp. So end-to-end encryption, instant, conversational. So you could have a chatbot managing your communication, your chats, or you could hand over to a live customer care or call center agent to speak to someone directly. It supports rich media, so the things that you probably are familiar with if you use WhatsApp today, so photo sharing, videos, etc. And interestingly, for us as marketeers, it allows you to personalize templates as well. So in the templates that you can send out, you could have variables or personalized elements that are being populated by your fast stats and people stage systems. So maybe, referring back to a previous purchase or some sort of transaction that may have taken place, or a segment that you may find yourself in. So really quite exciting in terms of what you could do with personalization. The WhatsApp Business API supports two message types. So the first message type is called the so-called user-initiated message. So this is where you, the user, decide to start a WhatsApp session with a brand. So you could do this, for example, by scanning a QR code or clicking on a link in an email, which is how our scenario is going to start, the one we're going to show you in a minute. But importantly, there's a limit. There's a 24-hour customer care window between you as the user and the business. So during that time, you can send out any message you want, but it's going to cut off after 24 hours. You can't, for example, 1 week later, communicate with that person again if they initiated the WhatsApp session. The second type of message is called the business initiated message. And this is obviously much more attractive for us as marketers, thinking about long-term communication with our customers. And here you need a prior opt-in, so that's important to collect. And you can only send out certain pre-approved templates. So there are 11 categories of use cases that are supported. I'll show you that in a moment. But you need to apply for that in advance. And importantly here, you can communicate with your customers out of that 24-hour customer care window. So it allows you the ability to keep in some ongoing dialogue or chat session with your customers or users. There is a price associated with that messaging. And here you see the different template categories. So for example, ticketing or appointment setting. I think they're fairly self-explanatory what the what the categories are. But the most important for us and what's new as of June this year is the so-called quality-based message. So which could be a promotional message, for example. Why quality? Well, it's quality because it's been verified. You as an account have been verified upfront, and your template has to be approved by Meta in advance. And you see there that it's available in almost 20 countries right now, but including key markets such as the US and a number of European markets, so Netherlands, Germany, UK, and Spain, for example. And that list of countries will grow over time. You also see at the bottom there, there's a limit of 25 message templates per business account. Now, of course, you can have multiple business accounts. So you could have one for your service division or arm of your business, or maybe different countries within Europe or different regions, so the US, Europe, or maybe different business units or lines of business. So if you have multiple accounts and each account can have up to 250 templates, you can see that you could actually have quite a large number of possible templates. And we know from research that most consumers regard it positively when they're kept up to date with proactive service notifications. So you may well have experienced an update on receiving a parcel, for example, at home, where it is, is it going to be delivered shortly to you or not? Is there a problem? And in general, people tend to like to be kept up to date, informed. But really, it's all about, from a marketing standpoint, it allows us to increase customer engagement, to boost real-time communication, and of course to reduce costs as well, operational costs. But there are really a host of use cases that could make sense. So for example, in marketing, it could be about redeeming a gift, a coupon, contests, competitions, enrolling people in loyalty programs. For pre-sales, it could be product suggestions linked to catalogs. For post-sales, it could be sending out a booking confirmation or tickets electronically. For customer care, maybe you want to send links to help guides, and maybe you have some sort of chatbot managing that communication, like I mentioned earlier. For mass communications, it could be you have a template message with useful media alerts and notifications, or for internal communications, company communications, maybe you have some sort of internal newsletter, or you want to gain feedback from your employees. So a whole range of use cases. Today, we're just going to show you one scenario, a kind of fictitious scenario that we made up, but it's based around the holidays database that we often use for demonstration purposes. And I'm just going to introduce that scenario, and then Florian's going to show it live. So the fact that you've made it to this breakout session means that you should have filled out this form, which is on a landing page on Apteco. And in that form, we ask you some key questions like your name, your email address, and your telephone number. And over within the last half an hour or so, you would have then received an email. So I'd ask you not to click on any links in that email yet. Florian's going to go through that with you in a minute. But we've assumed that you've made a holiday booking. So you purchased a holiday product from Teal Green Holidays, and that is the beginning of a customer journey that we're going to show you now. So on the left-hand side, I've just explained that, but entering your details on the landing page, we've assumed you booked a holiday, so you would have been assigned to one of 3 product groups, and you'll see that triggers certain personalization in our customer journey. Now you would have received the email with some information in there and a link, and that's then going to start a so-called user-initiated WhatsApp session. So I explained earlier the difference between that and a business-initiated follow-up or WhatsApp communication that in our journey comes right at the end. But based on that user-initiated session, which is going to be started by clicking on a link in the email, we've got a nice little chatbot that, in fact, Florian has developed. So just to reiterate, we have no plans at Apteco to develop a chatbot ourselves. There are many out there in the marketplace, but just to demonstrate the customer journey today, Florian has developed a nice little chatbot to support this particular journey. And from that chatbot interaction, it will be possible, if you're interested in receiving a particular coupon, so a discount off your holiday, that will be delivered via a mobile wallet straight to your smartphone. Remember, that's something we showed you the last couple of years in these breakout sessions at Apteco Live. Right at the end, we will then send out a business-initiated follow-up. Now, that's probably the most interesting part for the marketeers today. And of course, we could have gone straight from that email, as long as we've got a necessary or corresponding opt-in to that business-initiated WhatsApp message as well, and that's using the pre-approved template. And remember, these interactions here are going to be limited by that 24-hour window. So just bear that in mind. Obviously, our session today is just 1 hour or less than an hour, so we will be showing you both the user-initiated and business-initiated now. And yeah, just to set the scene, the final point before we go to the live demo, as I said, we've applied for approval, and for these message templates. In fact, it's one template, but in 2 languages, English and German. And that was approved by Meta. And you can just see there the exact text that we submitted. and you have to use exactly that message. You can't change it, otherwise it won't work. And you can see there, for example, we've got a bit of personalization. So we've in the squirrely brackets, you can see dear, and it's just got a number 1, but in this case, that's going to be the Christian name, the first name of the recipient. But you could have multiple elements of personalization in that template as well that could be populated real time then during your chat session. So that's the scenario. We're now going to have a look at that live, and then I'll wrap up afterwards. So I'll hand over to Florian now, and he'll take you through the next step of the demonstration.
Yeah, well then, thank you very much. I'll try to share my screen right now, and you should see my mobile screen on here. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Martin. Here's Florian. I think that most of you already know me from the past presentations, and I will guide you through the use case today we have created for you. And this use case includes several channels and also a real-time part where what we are doing now, and a part in our Apteco software we will have a look later. So let me take your hand and let me guide you through this use case. Follow my lead. So I think 16 of us of the audience today registered for this session today, filled out the form, the mobile number, the first name, the email address, and so much more. And filling out that form means you have kind of booked a holiday, a fictitious holiday, and thank you for your trust into our holidays season. And you should have received that email. You can see here on the screen. So in this screen, you got an email. Says thank you and welcome to Tigrin Holidays, our fictitious holidays company, and it's a bit personalized with "Hello Florian" and some text below. And in that email, you will see some more text, but you will also see that link you can see here. So it's here. And if you click on that link, you can do the same at home or on your mobile right now. But it is important to do it on your mobile because it directly jumps to the WhatsApp app. So this won't work on the desktop. It is more like a mobile use case today. So if I'm clicking that, it jumps to the browser, and that is automatically guided from the WhatsApp API to WhatsApp. It directly jumps into that account that we are using today. So that link contained some kind of account number, and it directly jumped into this account and pre-filled this one with the text we can see here in the screen. I will trigger that right now. But interestingly, the link we've used in the email could also be a QR code somewhere. It could also be a poster somewhere. Doesn't have to be integrated into email or other personalized channels. It could be just a QR code somewhere. You can scan it, and it will jump directly to the WhatsApp, and you can create a kind of conversation, and you can have contact with each other, and you can also see the mobile numbers that are trying to have a conversation with you. So you can see right here, I've just sent that, and it's sent back an image, and it also has sent "Hi Florian" and some more information. So let me explain you a little bit more about this kind of autoresponder chatbot. It is not powered by AI, and like Martin said, we are not planning to sell conversational bots powered by AI, but I think there's a market for that can be included in this. Can be included in this scenario. So if I just type in "hi," you can see there's one check, then there are two checks. That means the server received the message, and then our demo environment calculates a response and sends this back. pretty near on time, and it says hi Florian, and that hi Florian, why does it know it? It is Florian. I've never told WhatsApp that my name is Florian. So this is because you've registered before, and those of you that have registered your mobile number and your email address, that information is used for personalizing this experience. So James yesterday told about the real-time use case with the Kafka engine. And that use case consists of two parts. One part is the pretty fast doing something, but the other part is to have a kind of data store or API to deliver some information back. So in this example, we have used the information we got from you, put it into a poll marketing API, and we were asking that API with a mobile number or email address to tell us more about that record. And because I have done this, it knows this mobile number that have sent the message. This is Florian, so I can use that information to personalizing, changing that experience a little bit more than for anonymous users that are contacting me. But yeah, that information could also be asked in a kind of conversation. So I can do some more. I can also type in a joke, for example, if you want to see the good old one Chuck Norris jokes. So I've connected this with another API that can grab jokes and send it back to you. It should be a random joke every time you're entering this keyword. But if you don't know which other keywords you want to enter for this example today, you can just enter something that doesn't make any sense. And it sends you back, sorry, I don't understand. And there you can see our 3 different variations we can use for today. So for example, you could enter a hotel offer and you get a hotel offer, or you could enter an insurance offer or activity offer. So just, yeah, that should work too. Not nicely written, but yeah, the keyword recognition should work too. But it's important to have something like hotel and offer in this example. So yeah, sending back the image always takes a few minutes, but you can see this is a different image to the one we had before. And let's proceed with the use case. So you remember you've booked something on a website, you got an email, you clicked on the link, we got to WhatsApp, directly have the pre-populated message. We send it, we're getting something like this, and then we say, yeah, we're interested, please send it to me. And this sends us another information. And for the attendees of Germany today, they are receiving these messages in German because, yeah, we have entered some language-specific audiences in Orbit and in Farstats to make this multilingual. So you should kind of talk in German with that kind of chatbot. And this reply I got now, this contains a personalized link. So this is not the same link for everyone. It is in the template of this conversation, but we are using here a mechanism of Cineverse to generating short URLs, trackable URLs. So in the end, in the response data, this link is tracked, and we know who've got the messages, who've clicked on the link, and now also added that wallet to that item to your wallet. And if I jump to my wallet, you can see it right here. This is the wallet I have added here right now. And if you're interested in wallets, you can see the session of our last year, but that is a pretty good kind of another channel you can use. You can use wallets on iOS, for example, for push notifications without having an app. So that's a pretty nice mechanism, but you can also put some geographical coordinates or expiry dates on wallets. So the wallet will pop up or send you a kind of message if you are near to some location. So for example, the inner city where you're living, or for example, if the expiry date is coming nearer. So that's also a nice mechanism you can use on mobile phones. So this is the example with the user-initiated messages, where you are initiating the conversation with sending the first message. But it is also possible to do it the other way around. So the business initiates the message. And let's have a look at that example. So we can see this is the campaign we have used for today. And we can have a look at the second step where we send a business initiated message. We will have a look at our creative editor right here, and I will jump into this WhatsApp business template. Internally we call it the WABA template because WhatsApp business. And yeah, you can see the text right here. This is the pre-approved template we got. So this is approved by Meta, so it's free text, but it needs to be approved, and it contains some variables like here, first name. I can just enter here Florian just to show it and show you the very basic preview, but it will look like that. So dear Florian, and some more text. Thank you for attending, and I can get out of this window and can try to trigger the second part of the campaign right now, which will trigger the business initiated message. And that is completely independent from the user initiated ones. The user initiated ones only allows us to have contact with someone for 24 hours after the user initiated that conversation. In this example, with a business initiated message, we can just send those messages every time at a mobile number. You have to ensure you have some kind of opt-in. So for example, you have a form where you have a checkbox where you say, yeah, I want to receive messages via WhatsApp, a little bit for when you're registering for email services, and you have to record that opt-in to be sure yeah, you're safe in terms of GDPR, but and in terms of the WhatsApp rules you are accepting. Yeah, so this is now, well, this will now start pretty shortly, and this will now grab everyone who clicked on the link. So this is that kind of opt-in we are using today, and will guide some people from this email pool through this part, and guide some people to the WhatsApp pool. Yeah, so this is how it works, and yeah, there you can see it. It starts running. I have to be pretty quickly because normally the message arrives quicker than PeopleStage says the step is now finished. And this is now integrated into PeopleStage by default. So you can use those channels. The API is integrated with Syniverse right now. So that allows you to send those approved messages to the customers. And you can see it right here. This is not in German because I have a DE at the end. So I've just changed some things for the conversation to be in English, but the business initiated message to be in German. But most of you should receive this in English. And yeah, so afterwards, if you're interested in the slides, then we can tell you at the end the keyword to receive the slides of today. And I will now hand over to Martin, and I hope you enjoyed this live session.
Okay, thank you, Florian. So I'll just share my screen. So hopefully you can see that again and you can hear me. So just to, I mean, we saw an awful lot in that live demo there. So fantastic. Thank you, Florian, for sharing that with us. But just to recap again, So it all started off with that registration for the breakout session. Then we assigned you one of 3 possible holiday products, so flights only or accommodation only. And then based on that, you had 3 different emails, which you would have hopefully received on your mobile phones. And then if you clicked on that link in that email, it would have started the user-initiated WhatsApp session. So Florian showed that live, and he showed some interactions with the chatbot. So for example, the Chuck Norris jokes, and then requesting information on a coupon, which was then pushed into that WhatsApp session. So a link, a smart link that opened up a mobile wallet. So depending on whether you've got iOS or Android, it would have looked slightly different. And then right at the end, we showed an example of the business initiated message going out. And of course, that could have gone straight out after gaining that opt-in via the email as well. And you can of course run that anytime you like. And that message would have included the pre-approved by Meta or WhatsApp message. So key takeaways for today are: 1, we learned about the difference between WhatsApp, the consumer messenger application, WhatsApp business app, and the WhatsApp business API, which is what we've used today, and tying that into PeopleStage. We also learned about the 2 message types, so the user-initiated message, which has that 24-hour window on it, and the business-initiated WhatsApp that doesn't have that same restriction, but does have to have a pre-approved template. And hopefully you would have seen as well today how using Apteco, you can initiate these conversations via WhatsApp. You can aim to gain opt-ins in either via the user-initiated chat or via an email, for example. We saw personalization, so we saw 2 forms of personalization. In fact, one using the new pull marketing API, so that's been recently launched as part of the real-time capability in PeopleStage. So that was where that personalization came in the first chat instance. So that hi Florian, so that Florian was linked to a specific number. And we also saw personalization later in the business initiated pre-approved template, which also said hi Florian, and that should have also worked for all of you as well at home if you were following the demo. And really what's exciting, I think, today is to see the possible interplay between the different channels. So it's not all about, WhatsApp is better than email or vice versa. It's really using the right channel at the right time, or taking into account consumer channel preferences, for example. But the interplay, especially of these kind of mobile channels like SMS, mobile wallets and WhatsApp, maybe with email as well, is really exciting news, I think, for all of us as marketers. And so I'll go back to the headline message of the day. So WhatsApp can be used as a channel in PeopleStage for promotional messages, as long as you've got that opt-in and you use a pre-approved template. We now have a few minutes, literally 4 minutes, before we need to be back in the main session. I saw there were a lot of questions coming in. I saw quite a few from Parish. I'm not sure we'll be able to get to more now, but should we just pick some of them off now? So Bento, my colleague, is on the line. Could you just remind us of maybe some of the questions that came in?
Yes, sure. So I don't know if we might want to answer Parash's questions later on, like private email or something, because there's quite a few.
Sorry. Yeah, so I was very excited by what I saw. I was amazed. It was so
great.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Thinking. So I'm happy for you guys to just pick my questions afterwards. But I think the one question that I think will be useful for everybody else is this 24-hour window that you talk about. I wasn't too clear about what that meant.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that question. And I'd also like to introduce Johan Ackerman, who's actually joining us directly from Cineverse today. He's really been a great help to us in getting this integration working in a short period of time. And Johan, do you want to maybe pick that question to talk a little bit about that 24-hour window and how that works and what it means?
Yes, sure. Thank you. And hi, everyone. So as Martin showed in the presentation, if the user or the recipient is initiating the conversation by window shopping, scanning a QR code and so on, and he opened the conversation, then the business can reply to this open conversation with any message they want to have in this conversation. But this window of opportunity to chat with this subscriber is only open for 24 hours. So after the conversation has stopped, it is no longer possible for the business to reach out to the same user and promote other things. However, the business initiated message can be sent whenever you want. Basically, that's what you have to opt in for. And if the customer then if the customer responds to this business message, then you can also in the following conversation have all the free text you want to use with the customer.
So sorry, can I just finish? Just add on to that. So if I activated a voucher code, right, and then I sent you a message, you would have to respond back to me within 24 hours. And if I didn't respond back to you within 24 hours after you'd said something, then that you can't talk to me again, or could you talk to me again on a different subject?
It's really, I mean, if that coupon was sent out, let's say via an email, Parish, and then, I mean, that email could sit there for 3 days, and then the customer opens the email and he, he scans the QR code or whatever it is. From that point onwards, you then have 24 hours to communicate with that individual. And then that conversation ends, so to speak. But you could then communicate with that individual as long as you've got that, you've made a clear opt-in, made it clear in the email. You could send a message to that person a week later with a business-initiated message then, but it could only be one of those pre-approved template messages then. Okay. If they then respond to that pre-approved message with something like, oh, that sounds really interesting, can you send me some more information? Then the 24-hour window starts again because they've initiated the conversation. Gotcha.
Yeah. What would happen if they deleted the message? That was the other question I forgot to put on there. Would you be able to, would you know that they've deleted the message?
Well, that's a good question, actually, Florian. There is certain response data. You know, in email, we know kind of clicks, bounces, and opens and things like that. What sort of data are we getting back from the API?
No, we are not knowing if the message was deleted, but we are getting response data. For example, if you're using the business initiated messages, we are getting a read information. So we are just getting an event directly in the time when someone opened that chat. So we get a read information. And that doesn't count for the user-initiated message. If the user-initiated message is, then we are notified directly with a message. But then, like I said, like I showed in the example, we can use, for example, personalized links to see if someone clicked something.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're running out of time, actually. We're meant to go back in the session, but thank you, everyone. There was one question from Katrin I saw about what do you need to get started with WhatsApp. But there is an approval process you need to go, and this is where Cineverse would help you as a customer. So you first of all have to have your account verified or activated, and then there's a process whereby someone will call that number to make sure that you are who you say you are. So that's a process that you need to go through. And then, of course, if you're going to use a business initiated message, you need to have your template approved, but that process is pretty quick. If I recall, it was just a couple of days or so with us. And also, I saw one of the questions, there are guidelines as well as to what that business initiated template should look like. So, for example, the curly brackets and things like that. I don't recall offhand what the limit is, the length of the message, but the message that we showed you today, actually, when we wrote it seemed like a couple of lines long in an email, but actually in the the window of your mobile phone, it was actually already quite long. So I'm not sure you want to have anything much longer than that. I think we're going to have to close the session now. So if there are any other questions, we will try to get back to you afterwards. So if you can switch over to the main platform, and on behalf of the whole team here, thank you very much for joining. And please feel free to contact us after the event if you're interested in this topic. Okay. Enjoy the rest of the Apteco Live.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.